And we are live. Gentlemen, welcome back to the Mecca of Banter podcast. We're here for season 3. We're here with sound effects, so we finally figured it out. I'm so bummed that Nick isn't here tonight to experience that first live. But season 3, fellas, we're back. We're a couple days away from the Premier League season starting. So we have a banger of an episode. We're going to go into some predictions for the year. And by the way, way too early predictions. Like we haven't even played a game yet, and we're already assessing the end of the year squad. So
these are going to be absurd.
I don't know if
But before we dive into all of that, I'm tonight's host, Henry Wind. You can find me on Twitter at Henry Wind. I'm not the most TikTok famous guy of the circle, but I'm up there for this week. And throwing it to our most TikTok famous TV screen, at least, Andy Hoover. How you doing tonight?
You've got a face for radio and a TV for TikTok.
I'm doing great. Hoove here. So pumped for season 3. I caught it was just one blip of a really funny sequence from Mr. Odegaard, and I knew that the Snapchat filter over the video was going to hit, and it did. and then I threw in some hashtags, and yeah, we caught couple hundred, tens of thousands of views on that one.
And that's what we call viral, bro. We're viral.
It's viral. Organic marketing. Organic engagement. That's what we want to see.
Coaching arsenal.
I showed Paige, and she was like, "Isn't it so funny that you all have been posting TikToks for like a year with your face on it, and the one time that you post none of you guys on it, it takes off."
Isn't the algorithm so dumb?
That's so dumb, dude.
We're at 90K views on it though as of this moment.
And climbing.
Come on, fellas. Connor Sindobri, how we doing?
Season 3, fellas. I think from like the start of this podcast journey, like way back when we were doing it in studio, like slowly the United trajectory has just gone up. It started off terrible. Last year was okay. I think this is the year that we step forward. But, season 3, extremely happy to be here with you fellas. Always enjoy hopping on to talk some footy. I do think this is going to be a pretty spicy episode.
I think so too.
So I'm excited to, as much as I love talking about St. Louis City all the time, and we still will, I'm excited to get the banter back up and get our clubs back rolling. So good to see you, fellas.
That's what I like to hear. We've had this episode planned and locked and loaded for a little bit, so here we go. Jameson, how we doing tonight? Welcome back to the pod, bro. You haven't been on in so long. Thanks for
gentlemen.
Come on.
It's great after a summer off. Nice to take a nice off season. Happy to be back. Happy to roast Chelsea early and often. See how it goes from here.
Yeah, Jake needed a full summer vacation from the pod from taking all the lashings last
I got some
week.
things to say.
Unreal. Last and certainly not least, the man who can finally celebrate a trophy? ?
A shield, maybe a plate.
A shield, yeah, not quite a trophy, but a shield. Lucas Winkleman, hello.
What's up, gentlemen? Good to see your faces.
You look so goddamn cute.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Yeah, I talked to Hoove before, and I was like, should we just show up in ties and just see what they say? And Hoove was like, bro, he was at like 6:15, like, bro, I'm making food right now, and there's no way I'm going to be able to get a shirt on that quickly. I was like, all right, no big deal. I'll do it. Yeah, felt like it had to be spiffy for the first episode of season 3. For those of you who have been with us since season 1, welcome back. For those tuning in for the first time, welcome. We're stoked to have you and to have you listen to us talk shit to each other about our clubs. But yeah, really, really excited for this season. Already 2 trophies down, more to come. So going for the, what is it?
Incredible. Incredible.
Dude,
we'll see what happens.
Fucking A, man.
My favorite tweet of the week was Rio Ferdinand just had to say, I don't know how many community trophies that I won, community shields, with like 3 crying laughing emojis. I thought that was hilarious.
We're just giving City a taste of what's to come when the Prem starts.
Bro.
For sure, man.
Just
for sure.
Whatever. Well, fellas, before we dive into our way too early predictions, we actually had a pretty unique experience. Jake and I got the opportunity to see the main man, Lionel Messi, live in action last night And look at this, Doves. Yes, sir. Look at that hat, bro. That's great.
Unreal.
We got the opportunity to see Messi live in Dallas last night. Jake, how was it for you? Fill the listeners into the experience.
First off, absolutely insane around the stadium. Like people showing up 2 hours early before the game, waiting outside in 110-degree heat just to get a glimpse. The place was not ready for it. The game got announced on Wednesday, and they did not do their due diligence to make sure that this was ready for it. But the man delivered, like without fail. Technically three goal contributions and a pen. I mean, the man was on top of it.
Yeah, he was so sick, and I wanted to I can remember watching Messi, in the 2006, 2007, back then, and to be able to finally see him live in person, it was a bucket list item for me. And yeah, dude, what a game! 4-4 going into pens. Dobes, not to take your thunder here, but you sent the perfect text to our group during the game that, you take out Messi, you take out Busquets, and Miami is still Miami. Defensively, horrible. They are so bad.
Just Swiss cheese.
Dude, and what's crazy is I was actually bigging up the goalie. He's made some huge saves the last couple of games. He had just a nightmare of a night. That own goal that went in was literally the slow motion. I'd back any one of us in goal to save that goal. That was an own goal, and I've seen all of you play goalie. I know the skill level I'm talking about here. But what an unreal experience! I know that whenever we might have seen Messi live in St. Louis, there was all the messaging that went out about how you can't have his jersey in the supporter section, and it's still a home game and all of this stuff. When I say that it was literally an away game for Dallas inside of Dallas's stadium, it was nothing I had ever seen before. FC Dallas was getting booed in the PK shootout. It was crazy. Messi touched the ball and the stadium stood up, just erupted. Even just around us, obviously we came from St. Louis. The people behind us drove in from Austin earlier that day. The family next to us are from Argentina that had never gotten to see Messi play live. It was just so sick seeing how he brought all the people together. But gentlemen, I know you watched the game on TV. What was it like for you watching him do his thing yet again?
Comical. Dude, I was just sitting there and I didn't sit and glue my eyes to the TV the whole time, but relevant parts I was there for. And that free kick came up, it went in, and I just laughed. I just started laughing. You cheese like a kid when he does things like that and continues to do things like that. And then you just expect it. Of course he was going to put the penalty away. That no question. Everything that he did was so much better than everybody else, and it's he's at a walking pace. He picks his moments. Yeah. He finds his seams. He makes passes people can't make. It's so fun.
It's outrageous.
Yeah, it was all the stuff that you see outside of the highlights, stuff where just even simple passes, just drawing guys in. There were times where the guy behind us, he had these two girls that were his daughters that were, probably 5 and 7 years old, right? And so these kids were screaming at him, dribbling through three guys and making one pass. So it was so cool to see their excitement for it. Yeah, they don't even understand the magnitude.
No idea.
Yeah, it was super cool.
It's never obviously I've watched St. Louis City every single game. And if there's an MLS game on, typically it's I got nothing going else on. I'll toss it on the TV kind of in the background. And I can genuinely say that I have set my schedule around watching Inter Miami play, which is sort of just an absolutely insane sort of statement to say. But then just in terms of breaking it down, even though he's in the MLS, when he scored that first goal, no joke, I jumped off my couch and I ran around my room. Then when he scored, then when he scored the free kick, it's I'm laying in bed next to Madison, watching on my phone, doing everything in my power not to scream my fucking head. So it's just the magnitude that this guy has, and it's I was talking to my dad about this. We sit here and say that if he were to come to St. Louis, it's yeah, we're City fans, we're if he scored, I would probably scream. I may cry. It's like one of those things where he's that magnitude of player, and it's been cool to sort of just see the entire country, from not even soccer fans, just people realizing the magnitude of what this guy brings and actually being able to see it. Because most of the time in Europe, these clubs play at different hours. They're not in prime time. Well, they're in prime time in the United States now.
Oh, yeah.
So all eyes. And you're seeing people who I've never seen tweet about soccer or talk about soccer. It's all they're talking about. They can't believe what this guy has done. So it's been pretty cool to see. It's also cool that he hasn't even played the MLS yet. Like this is just the start.
It's wild. I was at Veta actually last night. We had 2 co-ed championship games back to back. Shout out to
subtle flex.
Yeah, shout out to Beer and Bruises and Who's Your Caddy. But we had 2 games and we won both. And at Veta, if you win, you either get a $100 bar tab. Yeah, not a big deal. But if you win your league, you get a $100 bar tab, or you get $100 off your next session. Naturally, we took the 2 bar tabs. So we had like a $200 bar tab. We walk into the bar at Veta, and we're like sitting there, getting beer, getting buckets. And it was, I think, 2-2 at that point, or 2-1. So we missed Messi's first goal because we were playing, but we like see him line up for the free kick, and one of the girls on our team was like, "Oh, he's gonna score here, top right. I know it." And I was like, "Yeah, he's for sure gonna go over the wall." So we're like, the bar gets really quiet because it's just packed because everybody's watching that game. I think they had the Cubs game on one TV, but nobody was paying attention to that. We're all watching the Miami game, and then he scores, and like nobody says anything. Like, and I just like look around, and everybody's hands are just like above their heads, like in shock. And like you said, Dobes, like the magnitude of the kind of player that he is, like that's the kind of reactions that he gets. Like it's either ballistic screaming or just like it's crazy that somebody can do this. So that it was really cool to kind of watch that with that group of people. And then obviously we stayed for the PKs, and we expected nothing less that it would be messy than biscuits back to back. But yeah, it was really cool for us to watch, and obviously we had a good vantage point being on the TV. But so stoked for you two that you got to go with Dougie and
bucket list
for sure.
Absolutely.
And it also made me appreciate like St. Louis's stadium so much more. Like Dallas's stadium, like the entrance system was terrible. The food options terrible. Even like
they opened the doors at one time for 20,000 people.
Yeah.
And every single person was going through individual entry on metal detectors.
It was terrible.
So like to get through one metal detector, it would be like literally one person per minute.
It was bad.
It was
like security at the airport.
Yeah.
Horrible. And then pretty much was.
Yeah. I mean, simpler, but like even like getting like a beer, like they would take like a can, pour it in like a little like flimsy plastic cup, and like just your experience was so bad at the stadium.
They also sit the whole time. Like,
oh yeah, bro. So they sat the whole time, and then it was all quiet. It was quiet the whole time.
It was strange.
It was weird, but sick experience. I'm glad that we got to do that. The USA lost, gentlemen, in the Women's World Cup. Dobes is changing hats now. We got some shit to talk about.
I can't dive into this little rant here with that messy hat on. So first off, set the context. The U.S. women's national team was knocked out in the round of 16 by Sweden in penalty kicks. I think it's the first time in like their history that they finished outside the top 3 just in the World Cup in general, which is absolutely an outrageous stat in the first place. But sort of what I want to talk about is just first off, I don't want to make this seem like it's like we're sort of shitting on like the U.S. women's national team, like make this like a political argument or whatever you want to be, because there's been the U.S. women's national team has been such a polarizing figure over the last couple of years, and basically every realm of society, politics, like sporting, like they've sort of been everywhere. So the thing I want to talk about a little bit is this team. I watched all 3 games. I woke up at wee hours of the morning to watch this team play. And 100%, I wanted them to win. I wanted them to go on to win the World Cup. And yet there was this feeling that when they did lose, that was almost sort of some satisfaction. And it like sounds weird to say that because I obviously did want them to win. But this entire tournament, yes, the coaching was terrible. Yes, some of the decision-making was terrible. But the entire tournament, this team felt entitled. This entire tournament, this team felt like They didn't have to show up and play. They didn't necessarily have to like give their best every single game. Yes, they may not have been put in the best positions in terms of formation, but this is sort of what we've seen develop over the past couple of years with this U.S. women's national team. They have thought that they are better than sort of anything that happens. You also have this crop of sort of young players who are joining the team. They feel entitled just to be there. They think they can walk into a tournament, win the World Cup. But I think this truly starts with your leaders. And what I mean by that is you have your Alex Morgans, you have your Lindsey Horans, you have your girls that show up and they show out. But one of the people that has frustrated me, and not just me, if you would have paid me $1 million, I never would have told you. I would have been up at fucking 6 a.m. on Twitter arguing about Megan Rapinoe. but yet again, there I was. Because never in my life do I think I have been that frustrated to watch a person step up to take a penalty. And truthfully, the only reason she's on the squad is for a moment like that.
Oh yeah.
Like she's not on there to be a difference maker. She's not going to run by people because she can't. She's on that team to make a penalty in that moment. Not only did she sky it, but as she's walking back, she starts laughing. She starts laughing and sort of smiling. And afterwards, she does this interview about how it's dark humor, and she starts laughing and sort of smiling again. And that to me is the problem. Because never, no matter any situation where you get like that, should ever you be smiling or laughing or be disrespectful to your country or make it seem like it doesn't matter to you. Because there are folks that are watching this national team that like are living and dying by every kick. And the moment that you fucking sky your penalty over, it's just funny. Well, to a lot of people, it's not funny. And so that's one of those things to me where that is like, I always say it starts at the top. It starts at the top that your leaders and your oldest players should always set the standard of how you go forward. And when you have a player like that is reacting like that, it completely undermines sort of everything else that's going on. Because all of those girls, like Gurma, the center back, who I first saw, was my player of the tournament. She's not getting talked about. Yeah. Like Ertz is not getting talked about. These young girls that actually went and balled out are not getting talked about. Instead, Megan Rapinoe is the girl that's making all of the headlines to make this about her again. And to me, that's where there needs to be some sort of change, because we've seen over the past 8 to 12 years that the women's national team went from here and has been slowly progressing. And the rest of the world is on the rise. So I don't know if you guys have had the chance to watch England or even Sweden or the Netherlands who we played. Like these teams are getting better and better. And you add that entitlement of what this women's national team thinks that they have. They think they can walk on any field and they're the best. It's gone. It's out the window. And so as a fan, obviously wanting the national team to win, it's just, I had to do a little bit of rant because I genuinely been like fuming about it. Like having my sister, who diehard fan, texting me that she's fuming about it, seeming like Rapinoe didn't care. That's the stuff. Imagine that's the men's team. You know, imagine that's like Christian Pulisic. Imagine that's one of our veterans that's just laughing like it doesn't mean anything. So I'm curious if you guys sort of feel the same way, but that was just sort of my instant reaction right after that, because I'm still frustrated as shit after it.
Well, I think it shows, like, I don't know. I mean, I think you hit it spot on of like your leaders are there to step up in those moments and set the tone and set the pace. I think when we, 4 years ago when we competed in the last World Cup, we had a lot of leaders in that team. There's a lot of like names that we had kind of heard for the last several years that were legends, and all of those people left the locker room. And I think like you saw some of the former players also kind of rip into them on social media being like, this team doesn't look.
You have to.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and you can kind of see it from a mile away. We'll never know what's going on like in between or like in the room. We have no idea, but like, yeah, watching it, it doesn't look like a team who's out there ready to compete. It's
become toxic to where, like, when you look at Twitter, like I see more people that are happy that Rapinoe missed than like sad that the U.S. men's or women's national team lost. Like, there's more people happy that she made a mistake. You got Piers Morgan just absolutely torching Megan Rapinoe. Like, the whole world is just torching this girl, and it's completely overshadowing just every single other aspect of basically the entire tournament, in my opinion.
Dude, that you made a good. I didn't watch it, to be honest, and I mean, huge disappointment. But you make a good point about the men's side of it. Any one of those guys in that same moment that has that same reaction, or even something kind of similar, we would be losing our minds. So, it sucks that I think you're right. I don't think she intends to make it about her. It's just become that way. And from the history of all of it, like, that's not super surprising. But Christian Pulisic isn't going to make this about him, or Weston McKennie, or like all those guys have big personalities and maybe an ego here and there too. But yeah, that was the issue to me. And you're right about taking away from the rest of it. There's a lot of young players that do deserve shouts and do deserve accolades and should be looked upon highly for their performances and in the future. And it sucks it didn't end that way.
We have to wait another 4 years before that group gets an opportunity. By then, it'll be like a new.
Hopefully it's a wake up call. It's a wake up call.
I mean, the men's team missed out. The last World Cup that served as a good wake up call for them. So hopefully it comes back around for the women, and we'll be back cheering in another couple of years. But gentlemen, we're about to go into a new segment. This is the Mecca of Banter preseason award predictions. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, this is way too early to be giving these awards,
so
but we're going to do it anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the following awards. We have the Golden Boot, we have the Golden Glove, the Player of the Year, Transfer of the Year, Flop of the Season, and Young Player of the Season. So we're going to go through. None of us have talked about this, by the way. Like, none of us have compared notes with anyone else, so we don't know what anyone's going to say. So I'm excited to hear. I don't know who wants to start. Maybe I don't know, Winks. You want to start off with your and we'll go through.
Yeah, I can. Are we like giving a lot of background on this, or are we just like saying it and moving on?
Dude, I think you can say it and you can justify it if needed. I mean, I think you'll hear based on the reactions whether we agree or
not.
Let's rip it. I mean, I hope you guys don't agree with all of them, obviously.
I say we do one at a time. So let's go through like Golden Boot and then
we'll go Golden Boot.
We'll all give our own.
All right.
Yeah.
Haaland for me is Golden Boot. I have a feeling that might be unanimous in this group, but Erling Haaland.
Yeah, I have Haaland.
Likewise.
Yep.
I'm going Harry Kane.
Give it to me.
And that is assuming he stays.
That's assuming he stays. I'm going Harry Kane. I think that City. I've been watching a lot of previews, and City's going to have to play a little bit more of a defensive style. Yes, they keep the ball a lot, and Haaland is a freak. If he can replicate what he did last season, I'd be incredibly surprised, just because at the rate and the way that he scored goals. I also think there's going to be a little bit of adjustment where teams in the Prem, you can say, may learn how to like play against him. But I do think that there's coaches that come up with a plan. They can come up with a plan for Erling Haaland. Not only that, I just think that Kane is still in my opinion, like the form of his life. Like we said it so much last year about the fact that we didn't talk about him that much because Haaland was so good, but he was fucking unbelievable last year. Like, Kane was fucking unbelievable. Not to mention that, but I think if you get sort of a healthy Tottenham team, this can lead into our preview later, but if you get a healthy Tottenham team, like, I think Tottenham can score some goals. Like, their front four, front six is pretty fucking dangerous. And then you add a James Maddison to that team, who we saw that link up the other day on that header. Like, I really think that Harry Kane can do it.
My only qualm with that is that, yes, teams might have like started to figure out Haaland, but I think that Manchester City were also still trying to figure out how to best utilize him. So I think that they've been perfecting that just as much as teams have been trying to figure out how to guard that man.
It's a great point.
I'll leave it at that, though.
I've got Harry Kane as the Golden Boot because he has been underneath defensive management shackles. We are entering a new era of progressive attacking football via my favorite Australian, Ange Postecoglou. Fact check me. It's right. So the preseason situations that I've seen, it's super offensive, and it's like so offensive that you leave yourself open at the back offensive. So I think, even indicative of whatever Spurs do, I agree. I think there's goals involved because we do already have a leaky back line, and we're about to play a style that leaves us more exposed. So I think Harry Kane could do it. I agree. I think it'd be hard for Haaland to recreate, although he's going to certainly be there. I'm not doubting
I don't think
where
he'll have
that
a
could
slump
head.
by any means.
No. But if it's not going to be Holland, it's going to be Harry Kane.
Dude, I think Kane's staying.
I think he is
Yep.
too. I don't
hope so.
think you play. I don't think you play a preseason game as the captain of the team and score 4 goals and decide, now's the time to roll. I think Levy's effectively just pissed on Bayern and everything that they've attempted to do.
He's pissed at offering $100 million for a guy with 1 year left on his deal,
and then going on vacation.
And then going to the States. Bayern set a hard deadline on a response to the combined. It was a combined 110 million. It was 75 up front, which was, I guess, the issue. And then they set this hard deadline that we need a response by. And Levy went to America for a vacation with his family.
Kind of a legendary.
That was funny. That was kind of funny.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, Golden Glove. James, start us off on this one. Who you got for the Golden Glove?
This was the one though, as the
Kepa.
It's not anybody that wears blue. I surprisingly
like
have
where
Aaron
you're going.
Ramsdale. Yeah, surprisingly enough.
You think he's even going to be the number 1 keeper?
That's why I couldn't go that route.
See, that's the thing. I think the internal competition is going to help him. I think it's going to give him something that he feels like he has to work on. That's just where my heart feels to go. I don't like it. I hate it.
Your heart's in the right place.
But
I hate it. I hate
that's
it
my
about
choice.
myself.
David
We haven't gotten to the rest of your team. We haven't gotten to the rest of your team. This is just one.
Yeah.
I'll follow that up.
You guys are nuts.
I actually don't have Aaron Ramsdale for the reason of, I have no idea whether or not the time's going to be split, and I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. But
Love that, Lucas.
I have Emi Martinez.
God, that's a good shot.
Could be a good shout.
I'm not mad at that.
And I like the shout because he's going to have the best Aston Villa team in front of him that he's had since he went there.
Yeah, 100%.
They signed Pau Torres on their back line.
Diego
Obviously
Carlos
we
is
know
back
they
and
signed.
healthy.
Yeah, and then obviously they have Rico Richards, Diaby, and Yuri Tielemans now sitting in front of the back line. So I think that giving him a little more help on top of the insane saves he already makes. And from what I understand, he's pretty nails on PKs too when it comes to save percentage on those. I think it's going to be Emi Martinez.
That's a great argument.
Dubs?
So logic here says that you've got to pick the team that you think's going to finish towards the top of the table. And I'm also going to go biased and logic here. Oh, Nana.
There it is.
The reason I think it's going to be Onana is because David De Gea won the Golden Glove last year. And not only that, we all sort of know my feelings on De Gea. I don't need a De Gea rant right now. But I also think with just the way, and our signings aren't done necessarily this season, but I think the spine that we have built and the back four that we have, especially with these Maguire links and the links with Tavito and just everything that's sort of going on, I think that we have the potential to replicate what we did last year. I think that the biggest concern is we did see sort of what happened with Onana in the friendly, that he's going to take more risks. And so that may lead to some potential chances to give up more goals. But we saw his ability to make a save. I think he can make almost every single save that De Gea can. Plus he adds that extra element. So I'm going to go bias and just go Onana.
Yeah, I'll get it out of the way. I said Onana as well and literally retweet for that. I think that another year with that defense playing together, our defense is what kept us in so great last season. So I'm going Onana as well, but I won't rant.
I'm pissed about this, and I'm pissed at myself for this, and I'm pissed that I went last. I also took Onana.
Let's go.
For the reasons that Dobes gave, for the exact reasons that Dobes gave, De Gea had the golden glove last year, and it wasn't exactly spectacular by any means. And I do agree that he's an upgrade. So that was my direction. I couldn't go Ederson. City lets in goals too. I don't even know what Liverpool's going to look like come the start of the season in 5 days, so I couldn't go that route. And I heard Viccaro's name for the first time 3 weeks ago. So Pretty much everyone else was ruled out. Top 10 or so teams. I like Emi Martinez a lot. I think that's a great shout, but I did put down Onana.
Yeah, Emi Martinez is a good one because he does have the talent to do it on his own, but he also got upgrades in the back, so I think that's a really good one. But Onana takes it.
I know ball,
and he knows ball. Maybe
he knows ball.
Player of the year. I'm very, very, very curious on this one for the crew. Dobes?
Oh fuck, dude!
I didn't want to go first last time either. It's
bro, this I wish I could share my screen because this category is blank. There is not an answer. There's not an answer.
That's the point of this, though. It's early enough. Like we don't know shit yet.
Yeah, you're right. We don't know shit.
I'm holding you to this. Like you better say the right answer here.
Everything in my being wants to say Bruno Fernandes.
Come on, baby.
But, nah, I don't think I can. Even though I do think he's going to have a really good year. I'm going to go Martin Odegaard. I'm going to go Martin Odegaard. Just because I think the Declan Rice signing frees Martin Odegaard to really do what he does best. When you now have a Thomas Partey, and my opinion, their best midfield three is Thomas Partey, Declan Rice, and Odegaard.
For sure.
And I think when you have those two behind you, I think it really frees up Odegaard to do what he does best. And sometimes last year, it is just sort of his personality to have to do that, like back and forth work rate, go back and sometimes put in a tackle. But I genuinely don't think he's going to have to do that as much this year. We know how much Declan Rice can win the ball back. We know how good Thomas Partey is. As much as I hate it, I really do. I think it's going to be Martin Odegaard. I think he takes another step forward.
Do you not think, though, that the midfield is just going to get too clogged with, like, I don't know. I don't think that Rice is the issue. I think figuring out what they do with Kai is going to be the thing that midfield is going to get so, like...
And in my opinion, like Kai should not start. Like with a healthy Jesus.
I think he should.
With a healthy Jesus.
Me too, James.
I don't know.
I think Trossard has to start in Gabby's place.
I think Arsenal's best midfield three is without Kai and use a $65 million super sub. But that's just from what I've seen in the preseason, but that remains to be seen.
Okay, one shout for Odegaard. Who's next?
I'll go. I'm tripling down, and it's my man,
Harry Kane.
Watch Levy accept an offer tomorrow.
Yeah, August 8th.
I did, yeah. Seriously, the first thing that I thought about doing all this was like, one, I know all the other answers that you guys are going to have. I was never going to say Odegaard. That was just ruled out completely. So, realistic option, the guy that wins the Golden Boot and, single-handedly carries another offensive team to potentially maybe top 4. I think you've got your name in the hat for Player of the Year candidate. But again, that 100% hinges on him being at the club Saturday. So
I had the same pick. For the same exact reason. Yeah,
let's go.
I think Harry Kane can do it.
He can do it.
Dude, I hate that we haven't had any like really rogue shouts on this one, but it's so hard to win player.
We're not there yet, dog.
Player of the year.
We're getting there.
Team of the season.
Team of the season. We're getting
crazy. Winks, do you want to go before I close this out on that one?
I have Bukayo Saka as my player of the year. I think that Odegaard is a great shout too, and I was between those two and KDB again, but I think that for Saka, I think that with those midfield additions as well, I think there's going to be a little less pressure on him and his trajectory that he's been on since the 2019-2020 season. His stats have been going up like 5 to 10 goals and assists a season every season. Last year, 14 and 11 in the Prem alone, goals and assists. So I think this year he has an actual breakout year and makes a big impact. So Bukayo Saka.
All right, head Marcus Rashford. On to the next.
Yeah, yep. Marcus Rashford. No, I actually my this isn't who I chose, but my United shout was Bruno. I think that he's gonna have like an unbelievable season. But my choice is Kevin De Bruyne, and like that may not be the sexiest pick because he's always in that City team. He's the best midfielder that we've seen in the Prem in the last 10 years. I just think that this year might be like kind of one of, if not his last year at that
At
level,
peak,
and then he might go somewhere else, or he might start dipping. I think this is going to be the season where he just balls out so hard. I think Kovacic in the lineup, while he may not be like a world beater, I think it frees KDB up in the way that Gundogan did. And there were times last season that KDB got little injuries and he wasn't in the lineup, a lot of rotation. I think now that the treble's been complete, I think KDB is going to be playing a fuck ton. So he's my player of the year. And when KDB is playing well, he is, I don't know if there's a more fun player to watch just from like a truly like loving passing and the way that the game's played. So I'm excited for that, and I think he'll be sick.
There was some legends that like I've seen it all over the place now, like putting him in the top 5, if not just right outside, in like best Premier League midfielders of all time. Like I think that when he's retired, I think he goes down in that same conversation with Scholes, Lampard, Gerrard. Like I think he puts himself in that conversation.
Yeah. I think so too. 100%.
And I also think like what's interesting about him as a player is like you can drop him in any era, and the things that he can do and the things that he's good at is good all the time. Whereas like you look at someone like, I don't know, David Silva, who was magic, absolute magic, but you throw him in like the early 2000s Prem, I don't know if he's doing the same thing. And, you know, it's an irrelevant argument because David Silva will never play in the early 2000s Prem. Like, it's just ridiculous. But I don't know, KDB is just this like timeless look. I mean, he's the best Premier League midfielder I've seen with my own, you know, eyes, but it's not about me. So, transfer of the year. I'm kind of stoked about this one. I'll start this one. Jake, I actually had Nkunku until this morning.
So did I.
Yep.
Nkunku tore either his MCL or something in his knee, and it looks like he's going to be sidelined for about 3 months. So, you know, maybe right before the Christmas break. But I really had Nkunku. I think that speculation, what he could have brought to that Chelsea squad, and maybe what he brings the second half of the season is going to be fantastic. But I'm going to have to pivot for mine. Short list for Onana because I think he'll win the Golden Glove. But I'm actually going to go James Maddison on this. I think that James Maddison in the Spurs team, with that offensive flowing attacking football that you alluded to, I think is going to be gnarly. I think that for the first time since Eriksson, probably, it's not an
100%.
over-reliance on the front 3 or the front 2 or whatever it is. You actually have a guy who's playing in that 10 position that can do a fuck ton of things. The only thing that might, you know, throw it out of whack is injuries. He does get little ankle injuries pretty often, but I'm going to go James Maddison for transfer of the year.
I love it, Hen. I'll go. I didn't even take Madison, although I do think that's a spectacular piece of business. I'm going with the guy that Winks mentioned earlier in Pau Torres.
Nice.
I think Aston Villa picked up the bargain of the year, an immediate upgrade to, I would say, everyone but maybe 2 or 3 teams, you know, back lines, and everyone would probably keep him on the bench, you know, even as a reserve kind of, you know, center back, and even like in a City world. Like I was shook when they made that signing, like kind of mad because I was like, wait, Spurs. Daniel, we could have done that, dude. He had some attraction too with the Spanish roots and Unai Emery too. I'm sure that definitely played a role. But I'm terrified of Villa this year, and
they're gonna be so fun, dude.
They've upgraded all over the field, and
yes.
Unai's proven to know that he kind of knows what he's doing, whether or not it's a super high level. They're gonna be decent. So I've got Pau.
It's a good shout. I'm not mad at it.
All right. I have 3. So
it's not how this works, Gypsy.
But they're for different categories, dog. Different categories. I think the best transfer to actually help the team is James Maddison. I think he's going to give Harry Kane freedom. I think he's going to be fucking awesome. I think from a personal gain, I was going to say Nkunku, obviously hurt. I think Nico Jackson fits a mold of somebody that we don't have, gives some creativity, but also a big body that's willing to work. An actual striker. Big, can get headers, can do a lot of different things, especially through preseason, was extremely impressive. Really excited to see how he goes. And then I think the also best for Chelsea is Kai Havertz. I think is the best transfer of the summer. $65 million. Cha-ching. Thank you, Lord. Get out of my books.
Bro, I think Nico Jackson is a great pick.
I think he is too.
He's fun, and he's definitely going into the season underrated just because he came from a Spain side that people didn't really pay attention to. Guy's electric, and I know it's only preseason, but he was doing it against some big names as well. So that's not bad at all, man. That's not bad.
Yeah, and I think Nkunku getting hurt is probably the best thing for him because it's going to give him plenty of time. So whether Nkunku is going to play in the midfield or play as a striker or even as a forward overall, it's going to allow for those guys, especially with how young Chelsea is, a lot of those guys to get their first, feel of actual Prem.
Word.
Dose is over there in deep thought. Go, Winks, go.
I am because my issue is that I didn't have a player of the year, and my transfer of the year, my thought is Timber, but I don't think I can say two Arsenal players. I think I'm just going to refuse to do that. I do think Timber's a good shout, but it's going to be chalk. I'm going to go Onana. It's going to be chalk, but I'm going to go Onana.
Such a wank answer.
Dude,
I think we need to make a rule to not have both of you on the same podcast because
how is that boring?
Ass? No, it's a great
keeper.
He was on my short list.
But and what I mean by that, if you guys look at this, I'm not just necessarily talking about United, but if you look at since United has left, all of the clubs that have gone out and tried to get this sort of modern goalkeeper, Chelsea signed a new goalie. Arsenal's in talks to sign Raya, who's just a little bit better than Ramsdale because his feet are better. So I think that Onana, just for the way that we're going to be able to play, I watched United play on Saturday, and we had a chance that we went back to front that started with Onana, that went out wide, then back to front, then then a 1-2, then a Bruno Fernandes ball across and a chance on goal. We've never seen that ever with any for United ever. It's David De Gea putting it in the fucking 50th row. So I know that it sounds like it's chalk, but I genuinely think that he's the best transfer that takes us that step forward in any position on the field. I think Declan Rice is another good shout. I don't necessarily think that he's that big of an upgrade on Thomas Partey or Granit Xhaka. There's a bunch of these players that I think are great signings, but I think the impact that Onana is going to have is a lot greater than anybody else that's been signed.
That might be true. And I don't hate it.
Find out. Yeah, I agree. Rice was on my short list and Onana, but as far as transforming their team, last year I think that was Zinchenko for us and just the way he allowed us to play the ball moving forward. But I think that Rice is just a much better version of Granit Xhaka, so it's tough to really try and imagine what he's going to unlock for us until we actually see it in action. Pau Torres was also on there for me, but for the sake of being different, I'm going to go for Sandro Tonali at Newcastle.
Ooh.
He was so sad, man. I felt so bad. I think that he doesn't even want to be there.
Yeah, I think that, their back line's already so good. And so adding him in front of them, I think is just going to be really fun to watch. And I hate saying that, but that's my pick, and I'm sticking to it.
He just heard in Newcastle a couple months ago.
Yeah,
literally.
He's like, we got a big offer. Yeah, sure.
Interesting, Winks. That's super interesting. I guess that transitions us into the flop of the season, and I'll start it with Sandro Tonali.
Me too. Yes. I had him down.
He was on my short list, man.
Dude, I think that he's gonna flop. I just think he will. And honestly,
it's very hit or miss on these guys coming from different leagues to the Prem, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and being a CDM. But
I think Newcastle are going to not underperform. I think that they're going to level out a little bit. I think last year they massively overperformed. And even though they made some good signings, I think that they are going to be 8, 9, 10 finish. I don't think that they're going to be like a top 4, top 6. I think Newcastle's going to drop, and I think Sandro Tonali is going to be the flop of the season. Kind of like he'll spend 1 year in Newcastle, he'll leave next summer, and it'll kind of be like one of those guys that in 5 years we sit around and be like, oh yeah, he played in the Prem. I forgot about that.
Dude, I'm with you. That's the reasons that I had it to a T. You take an Italian man out of Milan and you place him in Seattle-esque North England. I'm thinking it may not even be his fault. He may just not have a good time there, and he may just hate living there. So that'll affect anyone. That's a little bit of my opinion on that. Is geographically, I think he's going to hate being there.
That's wild that he was your transfer of the season, and both of us feel strongly that
Well,
he's the flop of the season.
he wasn't my number one, but for sake of just not agreeing with the Pau Torres take.
Respect.
If he's good, he's going to be great. If he plays well and they play well, I think he's going to be insane. But that's contingent.
There's no promises. There's just no promises.
I have a rather easy one. I think based off his preseason performance, I think Kai's an easy choice here.
Love it.
Hard to vote against that from all 4 of you. I dare you to.
Versus other people, I'll go against it. But
I think for whatever reason, I love the guy. But I think Alexis McAllister is going to be a flop. There's just something about it. I don't know what it is personally, but I have that gut feeling that it's just not going to work out with the Hungarian Sobozole, whatever his name is. Yeah, I just don't think it's going to work. So that's mine.
Well, I think he plays super slow, and the way that they play is so fast. Yeah, McAllister's really, he's technical. He's not a bad midfielder. It's just the pace at which Liverpool do things. I don't know.
It's too much.
I'm going with Liverpool's midfield. I've been thinking about picking any of them. I'm just going to go with their entire midfield as a whole. One, because it's awesome that Butch isn't here to defend himself, even though I'd say this if he was here. I'm going Liverpool's midfield for all the reasons. For those that listened to the last podcast, in my opinion, you can't change the entire spine of your team and expect instant success. Not only the spine, but leaders, people that were so important to the style and the way that they played. Sort of the way that Jake said too, with McAllister. I think he's a great footballer. I think he was great in a team like Brighton, to where they keep a ton of the ball. He can be on the ball. He doesn't necessarily have to work a lot up and back. Exactly.
Yeah.
And he also he's got that Caicedo to do the dirty work for him. And I genuinely just think that it's the biggest drop off in a midfield that we've seen. And I know Liverpool fans for the first time in a while are starting to feel the pain of what United fans feel for their owners not spending money, because they haven't done anything that necessarily makes me think they're going to take a step forward. They may have a good front three, but that midfield and the spine of their team is going to, in my opinion, hurt them.
Yeah, lack of depth all the way around as well.
Yep, McAllister for me as well.
That was yours? So you were McAllister?
Mm-hmm. But I also like the whole Liverpool midfield take. I don't know. I just got a weird feeling.
Yeah, I think all of them collectively. I just think you're asking a whole lot for a whole different group to go in there, right? Especially with how responsible they're supposed to be in Klopp's system, with being on both sides of the ball. I just think there's no way that it's going to work out.
Yeah. Okay. And last but not least, for this one, the young player of the season. Don't all jump in at once. Go for it.
I got it. I'm on it.
Okay.
I watched the top 25 goals of the 2022-2023 Premier League season right before I sat down for this, get myself in the zone.
Good research.
Julian Enciso, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be the 19-year-old on Brighton who is watching every other midfielder around Brighton leave, which will only open up a gap for this just out of nowhere South American stud. So Really excited to see him play. He'll probably play a lot more, I would have to assume. I think he's going to ball. I think Brighton's going to be fine. I think they just spawn players and, move on. So shout out to Zerbi.
I think he had 2 goals last season, and both of them were fucking bangers.
Unreal.
Absolute
Right.
moves.
I'll go next if you guys want to. It's so weird that we're staying at Brighton. I cannot believe that we have 2 Brighton young player seasons, but I'm going Evan Ferguson.
Damn.
If you guys have watched this kid play at all, I would love for United to sign him. He sort of is that all around package that I think that if he can stay healthy, I think he's going to score a shit ton of goals. Like I genuinely think that he has sort of every aspect to his game. He's great at hold up play. He's got a left foot. He's got a right foot. He has a bigger presence too, to where he can score headers. So I think that he's going to be sort of that next one to take the step forward in terms of. I would have loved to say Højlund. I'm not exactly sold yet because he's not prem proven, but I think Evan Ferguson's going to take that a massive leap forward.
That's great.
I think he's 19 too.
Yeah. He might have turned 20 in the offseason, but he's 19. Winks, you want to give yours?
Yeah. Hen, I'm unless you're gonna say Garnacho, I think we might have the same guy here in
Who do you have?
our boy Jacob Ramsey.
Come
for
on
Aston
now.
Villa.
He was
Come
number
on
2
now.
on mine too.
Yeah.
He
I
was
just
up there. It's hard not to.
We talk about him a lot, obviously, but he is just so fun to watch, and I think that with the guys that Aston Villa has brought on, a pretty similar argument to Emi Martinez for the Golden Glove, I think that is going to allow him to play his true style at a way more efficient pace. I think that, like, if you look at his stats, they're not anything to ooh and ah at, but I know that the talent is there, and I think that, this season with a much better, well-rounded Aston Villa team, that Jacob Ramsey is going to have a very, very, very good season.
Yeah, bro. I think this is going to be his breakout season, and I'm so stoked about it. I've been high on Jacob Ramsey for as long as I can remember. True number 8. He can also play the number 10. And just like you said, Lucas, like it's not going to be anything sexy. Like he's not going to bang in 20 goals or anything like that. But he's going to be, I'm calling it now. He's going to be like the next youngster from the Prem that gets the big money move to a bigger club. And even though I think Aston Villa are going to finish pretty high, I think he'll go to like a traditional like Big Six team. But yeah, I'm on Jacob Ramsey watch for sure. Yeah, that was all of them, right? Everyone gave one, yeah?
I did not give one.
Oh, James.
I had Jacob Ramsey as my number 2, and I had a really hard time not putting him in there. But I legitimately have it tied between 3 Chelsea players. I'm staying at home.
Fuck, dude. What?
Yeah. I can do this. This is my world. I can do whatever I want to. The one that I have as my personal number 1 is going to be Nani Madueke. And I think my number 2, at least for me, is Levi Colwill. I think that's the other one where I feel incredibly confident that he's going to have a really, really great season next to Thiago Silva and continue to improve. Great season last year. I think he's going to be awesome. Is he going to be, the bright and shiny guy that scores 10, 20 goals? No, but I think he's going to have a great season.
Don't hate it.
I
Who are
really
your other
liked
2 Chelsea?
watching Medwicki.
Wait, you had Madueke, Colwell, and did you have another Chelsea guy?
The last one is Mudryk.
Yeah.
I think he's finally. I don't care. I'll take the heat. I think he's finally going to have a breakout season. I think he's going to do great. I was really excited after how great he played. He plays with so much confidence now, and I think Pochettino is giving him that confidence as well as the players around him. I think that anytime that you see any Chelsea media, it's a lot of the big-time leadership guys hanging out with him at all times, which is awesome. It could also be parenting him, but we'll see. I think it could be a good season for him.
Henry, do you have a wah 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 sound that you can play
I'm sure
right
I
there?
can find one, but I don't. I just have which kind of works.
Nice joke. Funny joke.
Funny jokes. Well, gentlemen, I think it's about time that we dive into the Mecca of Banter Team of the Year. Now, I want you all to go through your 11. If you need to justify it, justify it. I think this is where we're going to see some differences in our teams. Who wants to start on this? Because
I don't think mine's all that. I'll go.
Should
but
we
I don't
just
think
go
mine's all that
position by
wild.
position and then decide?
I think we should, and then collectively agree.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Who? Start with your goalkeeper.
Onana. He's my Golden Glove.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm assuming we all picked our Golden Gloves as the keeper.
That's
so
fair.
we have. Who did you say, Jake?
I said Ramsdale. Thanks for making me say that again.
Thank you. Sorry,
I'm already regretting it.
I just want to make sure I heard that right.
I also made this decision 6:30 a.m. half asleep on a plane. So
Ramsdale's a good shout.
So we've got Ramsdale, Emi Martinez, and then 3 Onanas.
Yep.
Correct.
Mr. Onana. And a goalkeeper. Left back.
This one's tough. This one is tough.
tough.
It depends what you consider Timber. Because like Winks, what do you think he's going to play more?
I think when Zinchenko. So Zinchenko's not healthy right now, and I think that Timber will play right back when Zinchenko's back, and will allow Ben White to either sub as a center back or right back, and then Jakub Kiwior will be Zinchenko's sub or the left.
Are we doing right back or left back first?
We're doing left back.
Left back.
I was between Timber, Botman, and Luke Shaw.
Well, Botman's a center back, bro.
Dumb.
Yeah, but
So
he
is
plays
Luke
on the
Shaw.
left side.
Luke Shaw's a left back. Chill.
I mean,
I'm gonna go Luke Shaw. It sounds like it's chalk, but I genuinely don't know if I can name a better left back in the entire league.
I'm
At
going to
this
double
moment,
down on
but
that.
who do you think is going to have the best season at that position?
I think it's
Luke
going to be Luke Shaw.
Yeah, and now the Luke Shaw is one of his most underrated parts of his game is his ability to whip in a ball, and we haven't had a striker that can do anything. Right. And with a Hoyland, and let's just pray to God he turns out. I think we're going to see he's defensively sound. He can play center back. He's got the all around game. But if he can continue to add that sort of goal contributions, then I think he takes a step forward this season.
Yeah. I just have a weird feeling that was Zinchenko's injury, and I don't want to even put it out in the universe, but I have a feeling he's going to be one of the guys that's going to get injured again at some point in the season, and something might happen. But without him in there, I was between Luke Shaw and Estupiñán.
That's who I had.
Yeah.
He's a baller.
So
yep.
So, and just because I want to, I'm going to go Estupiñán.
So Shaw doesn't have to be in it. You're like, so the United boys don't get to double up here.
Yeah, I really like Ben Chilwell during preseason this year. Again, it's preseason. I'm basing a lot of the information that I'm giving now based off of that, but Chilwell was extremely impressive. I am praying to fucking God that him and Reece James don't get injured, knock on wood, do whatever I got to do. I think if both of them stay healthy, that takes both my left back and my right back picks right there.
So to decide if we can't settle on someone, we let the team vote.
Yes,
Well,
unless we have a majority. Who was yours, Hoof?
I was between Shaw. I mean, you guys mentioned the two that I was going to go with, and the one that I wrote down is Andy Robertson. Partially because
I don't hate that take.
He's been there and done this. I think Liverpool in themselves had a down year, but I don't think he was ever, part of the reason that they were having a drop off. So it definitely, I don't think Liverpool's going to do super great. So I think putting him in here was a hard decision just because it's hard for a left back to stand out when your team's, seventh. So I put him down. I think Shaw's going to be great. I thought he was one of the better defenders you guys had last year. So, I don't know how you want to take it. I'm going to go Robo still.
So does that give us a 2-2 split?
It's a 2-2 split.
Estupiñán and Shaw? Okay.
I like that. I think it is. I'm a fan of Estupiñán too. Shit.
It'll be fun.
We'll take it to social media.
We'll take it. We'll take it to the people.
Yeah. All right. 2 center backs.
Yeah, give us your 2 center backs. I'll start.
This was like one of the toughest for me to decide.
Yeah.
I think.
I think we can all agree on one.
Diaz. John Stones.
John Stones.
I had
John
Diaz.
I have John
as my
Stones
number
I
over
have-
Diaz.
Oh baby.
There we
I
go.
I had Stones and Diaz. To be
I have
fair,
Stones
Oh,
and Diaz as well.
Fuck
Yep.
you,
That's
dude.
so
Yep.
boring. I know, and you two have Stones and Licha, and I have Stones and
I don't
Saliba.
I don't have Licha.
Whoa,
What?
you're using
No,
your brain today.
Bro,
Sick.
bro, where's Guardiola gonna play, or however you say his name?
Bardiol.
Oh,
Yeah.
Stones
yeah,
might play in the
shit.
midfield.
He
Stones is gonna play in the midfield.
after seeing Messi walk him, I was very close. I was very close to tossing him out for flop of the season, but
Dude,
No,
I mean, honestly,
mine
though,
was
how are they
mine
gonna
was
get those
Stones
guys
and
in the field?
Saliba.
Wow,
My two were Stones and Saliba. I did want to go Licha.
wow.
I genuinely, well, it's just the reality of it. Like, I think in terms of our squad as of today, when we haven't signed Amrabat or another center back, like, I think that Arsenal's squad depth is just better than ours, and I think the rotation that Saliba is going to be able to play in the biggest games, play consistently in the Premier League. They're going to be able to rotate center backs. Ben White can now play center back a little bit more. So if Saliba can stay healthy for a full season, I don't think there's any way that he's not the team of the season. I think he's up there when he's healthy with the best center backs in the world. His biggest issue is, can he be that guy that stays healthy?
Wow, that's some high praise.
so we have
Do you feel betrayed?
all five of us had John Stones in there as one of them.
Okay.
Yep.
So he's a lock, and then we've got Alicia,
Yep.
Saliba twice, and
Diaz.
Two
Ruben
Diaz.
So I guess we'll take
Two
it
Diaz.
between Saliba and Diaz
Damn.
to the gram.
Damn.
Or
I can't
wherever.
believe that you all threw Diaz and Stones.
They're insane.
I thought about it.
Yeah, it's
Definitely
it's
thought
so hard
about
not.
I genuinely think that John Stones on his day is like the best center back in the world, in my opinion.
Dude, he's
man.
nuts.
He is
I
so
also-
fucking
he's
good.
Playing a 6.
I had such a hard time not putting John Stones as a midfielder.
Dude,
In-
yeah,
in
that's
mine.
great.
I want it so bad.
Yeah, big shouts. Should we transit? Did we all go a 4-3-3?
Yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
a right back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too.
Oh, okay, yeah, right back. Go ahead.
Trippier.
Trips.
Yep.
Trips.
Oh, I did Reece James. I think this is
Reece
his year
James,
that he's
baby.
staying healthy.
Yeah,
He's
I love
made of
Re-
glass,
I love Re-
baby.
I was
No,
going
he's
to say I love Reece James, but
Made
He's
of
been
glass.
healed.
he
Dude,
won't
he's
make it
getting
to September.
that captain band. It's gonna work like Captain America, bro. He's
Bro, tell him to get his sister under control, huh?
dude.
Getting
Super
dirty
player
player.
I've ever seen in my
Dirty
entire
player.
life.
I'm going Trips though. I
wait,
think he's the best right back in the league on his day.
Did 3 of you have Trippier?
Yep.
Wow,
Four of us.
4,
3.
3.
Three.
Excuse me. Oh yeah, you guys had Reece James. Excuse me.
Yeah, damn. I'm so surprised that you all said that fast.
Who's yours?
I had James.
I wanted to say Timber.
Have you ever
James
heard
was
of
my
Aaron Wan-Bissaka?
Reece James was my
Aaron
second.
Wan-Bissaka.
I just think that we saw the Newcastle back four last year and how good they were. And he's their captain. He's their leader. He's going to play like almost every single game.
Takes their free kicks.
He takes their free kicks. He takes all their set pieces. It's kind of crazy because I feel like he doesn't get that much praise, but then like all over the place, I see him in everyone's team of the season. He was like my first thought instantly.
Yeah, me too.
He didn't even come into mind. I'll be honest
I
with you.
feel like I haven't seen Reece James play in like 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay. Midfield 3. Also, for what it's worth, I did like 3 midfielders and 3 attackers. Doesn't mean it's like a right wing, left wing, forward, or like a CDM, CMC. Like just 3 midfielders.
I'll do mine. I have Bruno, KDB, and Enzo.
Whoa.
Fuck off.
I've got Bruno,
Fuck all you
KDB,
guys.
and Rodri.
Say that again.
Bruno, KDB, Rodri.
I have Bruno, KDB, and Declan Rice.
Oh,
Okay.
So you picked Odegaard as your player of the season, and he doesn't make it into the team of the season.
I literally have Odegaard, I have Bruno, but Odegaard's not going to win because there's already 3 Brunos. So if I say Odegaard, it makes no sense for me to say Odegaard because there's no shot he can win. So I might as well go with my guy and take Bruno. Because it's a collective. It's not me. What do you mean?
God.
So Rice is interesting because that's the first time we've brought up Declan Rice in one of these awards. He got skipped over for the transfer of the season. But
Wings
interesting that
mentioned
he
Wings mentioned
I
him.
mentioned him.
Did you? Okay, well, I did not have Rice in there.
That doesn't count.
Interesting.
Figured.
I did KDB, Bruno, and Odegaard, which would not work as a midfield three in an actual.
I was
game,
going to say
but-
you didn't even think about it like it working at all.
No,
Right.
it doesn't matter. This team is for vibes. It's not going for glory here. Vibes FC.
I have Rodri, Rice, and KDB.
Rodri's hard to pass up on. He just doesn't excite me.
Dude, that's because he doesn't play a sexy position. Doesn't mean he's not one of the best midfielders in the league.
I get it.
So KDB, everyone said
I
KDB.
can't believe you didn't say Odegaard, Wings.
I can't
like-
either.
I mean,
like ended-
I have Rice / Odegaard in there,
It's
and
like
then
ended before it
and
started.
then I had KDB / Bruno, but once I looked at it again, I was like, I'm a fucking idiot.
Odegaard
The only-
had his
considering-
career over the weekend.
I wasn't going to
Shield.
put Odegaard in, and then I had KDB because I think KDB's going to have a down year. But no, he's going to win it.
My personal three was Bruno. I had KDB out. Was Bruno, Odegaard, Declan Rice. I was
Wow,
like, if I had to pick one, that's
Whoa.
my three.
be a fun midfield too.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
do we all have KDB?
Yeah,
That's a collective yes.
Yes.
Bruno too.
And then we
I think Bruno's a collective yes
I
too,
had
right?
Bruno.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did too.
so I was the
I-
only one, or no?
Bruno,
and I didn't have
Bruno G was another one that was a tough for me not to pick. Like I think that he, especially with the
Emmerich.
Tonali now.
I think he's overrated,
I think he is too. I just think Newcastle's
Y'all are
overrated.
crazy.
dude. I
So
think
Bruno,
I think he's a good player on Newcastle, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, he has the same name as Bruno Fernandes," and therefore he gets rated. But
I don't think you're special in that just because his name's Bruno.
Bruno G's a baller. You guys are crazy if you don't think so.
whatever.
No, he is.
I'm excited for my forwards.
well, do we want to find out who our final center mid is?
Oh, is it a toss up?
Toss up between who?
I mean, we have Bruno and KDB. Who else did y'all say was your third? We had two Rice,
Rodri.
Rodri, or two Rice. I also said Rodri, so two Rodris
Odegaard.
at least, and
And
Odegaard.
I said Enzo.
Yeah, nobody's.
All right, so it's between Rodri and
Rice.
Rice.
Damn.
God, I'm
All right.
taking Rodri 10 out of 10 times. But
Yeah.
continue.
Okay, my forward line, Mr. Erling Haaland, Mr. Harold Kane, and I'm going Musa Diaby from Aston Villa, bro.
What?
I think he's gonna be electric.
Unreal. There's no way.
Electric.
What did you smoke?
What are
Electric.
you on? You didn't even put the guy that I thought you'd put in there.
Yeah,
Dude,
I thought you were gonna say
Your
Albans.
boyfriend.
I put your
Dude.
boyfriend on there.
come
Same.
on, let's go. Diaby, bro. Diaby, you heard it here first.
I went Bukayo Saka, Harry Kane, and Marcus Rashford.
That's my exact three.
I went Bukayo Saka, Erling Haaland, and Harry Kane.
Harry Kane, Erling Haaland, Bukayo Saka.
Wow.
So we
I
got.
think we
Hurt
all.
this morning.
Yeah, I wouldn't have had him in there, even if he was healthy. But
I would have.
I know.
Lucas. So we have Harold. Does Haaland make it in there?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Saka?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Unless
Okay.
you really are passionate about Musa Diaby here.
Dude, I am. Watch it happen.
Our
Wings,
team of the season is going to get torched because our team of the season will be terrible in real life.
You think?
We're getting played through.
Well, we got a midfield three of three attacking midfielders. We got Harry Kane. We got Harry Kane playing left winger.
Wings, can you
be
read
fine.
our 11?
I can, yeah. So at keeper, we have the guy that gets scored on from half, Mr. Onana.
Ramsdale.
At left back, we're going to take it to social media between Luke Shaw and Estupinian.
Okay.
And then our secured center back is Mr. John Stones of Manchester City. And then again, we'll take it to social media for the second center back spot between William Saliba and Ruben Diaz. At right back, we have Mr. Kieran Trippier. And then our three center mids, well, two center mids for sure, are Bruno Fernandes and KDB. And then the third spot will be decided on social media between Rodri and Declan Rice. And then forwards, I think we're pretty much all in agreement with Erling Haaland, Harry Kane, and Bukayo Saka, the star boy.
Hot.
So
Fun team.
So everybody, three positions coming to social media. We'll have you pick between our two finalists in each of those three spots, and then we'll release we'll post, a graphic of our final team of the season.
Sick. Here for it. Gentlemen.
I think there's less controversy than I thought there was going to be, to be fair.
I know. Same.
I mean, I think that at least, in half of these positions, there's a lock as far as who it's going to be. And obviously most of them are Manchester City players, but
Yeah,
just say the whole starting 11 from City.
I think what's crazy is
would the City starting 11 beat our team of the season?
I was getting ready to say like the only reason I didn't say Kyle Walker or Cancelo was because I don't know if they're going to be there this season, but I definitely would.
Kyle Walker was
That's wild. Okay, gentlemen, to close out tonight's episode, we're going to spring this on you here. So if you need to take a second to think about it, feel free to. We're ending with top four predictions. Who's getting top four? I want the order as well. So we're gonna lock these in, and that'll round up our prediction episode.
I did a full. I know we were talking about a full 20.
Make a TikTok about it, Lucas. Make a TikTok.
You guys want me to go first? I can go first.
Yeah,
go for it.
This may be just to strictly put all of the pressure in the world and keep it there for the entire season. I'm going to go Arsenal's going to win the league. I'm not going to give any reasons. I'm going to go that Arsenal's going to win the league because if they don't take a step forward after spending nearly 200 million on two players that were going to take them over the top, then it's a failure of a season, in my opinion, because we heard all last year how they needed a midfielder, they needed a goal scorer, and they got Kai Havertz, they got Jurrien Timber, and they got Declan Rice. So if they don't win this year, it's nothing but an absolute bust of the season. Number two, I'm going to go Man City. I think for obvious reasons, I genuinely hope that there's actually going to be a title race this year, that we can sort of get down to the final days and one team doesn't run away with it. I'm going to go Manchester City. Third, I'm going to go United. Main reasons because as much as I'm excited about signing Haaland, I think that we don't have another 9, and it's very tough to put all of the expectations on a kid who's first year in the Prem, extremely young, so on and so forth. So I genuinely think that we can take a step forward. I think we'll be better this year, but I just don't think necessarily, as our roster is currently constructed, that for position, I think Arsenal and City are still clear. So I'm going to go us in third. And I think what sucks is this maybe a little bit of a surprise to you is I was genuinely going to put Chelsea as my fourth place team until Nkunku.
So was I. Yep.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that it's been very sort of, I think as a Chelsea fan, it's very exciting to see not just the signings of players, but I've been begging for United to sign young players for years. Chelsea's gone out and got a ton of young guys. I think Mudryk can take a step forward. I think the combination of Jackson, I think that Poch has gotten rid of a lot of the dead weight that he wants out. So I was gonna go with Chelsea, but
stick to your guns.
Yeah, I'll stay Chelsea for now. I think what's crazy is the other one I'm contemplating between is Villa.
Yeah.
I genuinely was contemplating between Villa. So what I say, Arsenal, City, United, and Chelsea.
I tell you what, guys, I've got Arsenal winning until April when Man City comes in and Arsenal falls off. I was literally whoa, it's going to be Man City again. Yeah, so I've got them number one. I do think Arsenal's really good and also think that they should challenge for the title. And if they don't win it, it is also a failed season. I can agree about all that. I've got United right behind them. just because I think they're the most sound of the rest of the top 6. If you want to kind of compare it that way, I think there's a chance that you guys do really well this season. I can't say Spurs. I am more scared of Villa than I am of anyone else. I agree. I was going to also have Chelsea. I also can't do that with Pochettino. Fuck that guy. So yeah, I've got City, Arsenal, United, and Villa cracking into the top 4.
I have City, Arsenal, Villa, Chelsea.
Oh,
I don't think United's going to get it done.
Spicy.
I don't
that's
think it's
just-
going to
that's-
happen.
I love
That's
that
just-
take.
That's
I
just
just
dumb.
don't think it's going
It's
to
just-
happen.
Bro, we had our best striker last year scored 2 goals.
That's fine. That's cool. That's great.
Scored twice, but
That's
then not
fine.
only that, we get rid of all of the dead weight and bring in players that are 10 times better than the players we had last year.
Your striker hasn't scored any goals yet, though.
And he's
But
only
if
scored
you-
a couple
okay.
in the other league he was
All right.
in, right?
If you look at, all right, you
But his
guys
name's
look at this.
close.
If you guys look at Luis Suarez, Robin van Persie, Karim Benzema, Harry Kane, when they were his age, they all have less goal than Rasmus Højlund currently has at his age. So it's like that's the trajectory of what this kid is on. He has more goals than all of those best strikers of the last 10 years at this age. So if he can take that step forward, it has the potential to get to that Haaland level. So yes, it may be predicting he does do that, and that's an
wild.
ask.
Spin that
That's
shit,
a
baby.
wild
Spin that
one.
shit.
The potential to
Adios
be
mio.
Haaland. Clip it for me, please, chat.
That's when you see the comparisons. That's who Sky Sports has tweeted about 7,000 times since he's been signed.
they're,
Sky Sports.
They know ball too, so I get
for
that.
sure.
Yeah.
James, I think your take is fucking insane.
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 I love it
Hope
so
it
much.
works.
It's
I hope
great,
it works.
dude. Nuts. Okay, I actually have the same top 4 as Hoove. So sorry not to be fun, but City, United, Arsenal, Villa. The only thing though is that I think Villa adding in European competition, even though Emery, like that's his thing, I think they might suffer in the league a little bit. Chelsea, realistically, Chelsea has no excuse to not get top 4. It's just a matter if they're better than those 4 teams. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not focusing on anything else. They have no Europe. They don't have any like extra competitions really. So they shouldn't have any excuse. But I don't know. I think the Nkunku thing is brutal, and
It sucks.
Raheem the Dream is going to be starting for you all. So
Woo, love
I
that
don't
guy.
know about that. Don't put that evil on me.
Yeah, man, it's
Dynasty
Say
time,
it.
baby.
Say
Dynasty
it.
no.
time.
I definitely.
Spit it out.
So my
Scream it.
my top
From the
3.
mountaintops.
My top 3 are Arsenal, City, and United. But
In
it's
what
the
order?
fourth. It's the in that order, Gypsy. But it's the 4th spot. It's the 4th spot that like is very controversial for me because I think that there are a lot of ways that a lot of different teams can squeak in here. You guys think Newcastle or some of you think Newcastle's like overperformed last year, which they might have, but you know they signed some guys. They're playing together more, or they've gotten to play together. You know, a whole season. They're still signing guys. I think they could sneak in there. I think Chelsea could sneak in there, assuming they stay healthy. I want Villa to be that 4th spot. I think that would be awesome for them. I feel like Villa, like I know it's
You're just
against
giving away top 4 spots because you're up there now. It's like, I hope I can give it to them.
It was like 3 years ago. They were like 10. They were 10th.
yeah.
it's crazy, isn't it? But we're here now, and
It's a
yeah,
dynasty.
I'm gonna say Villa as well. So I think that means
High
Jobs and I have
expectations
the
for the
same
Villa
top 4.
boys.
I want it really bad. Out of all the other clubs outside of my own, Villa's a fun.
My favorite part about this entire segment that we've had is not a single person has even thought or mentioned Liverpool. Not
great.
a single-
Honestly, I'm
not a single person has
pissed.
said it.
I'm pissed that you even said that because I was hoping we could go through that whole thing without even acknowledging that we didn't say them. Yeah, well, no,
We don't know. Them.
I think they'll finish top half.
Yeah.
I think if they finish top 15, it's a win for them.
Current state. Current state. I just think current state of their midfield. They need
Ninth.
two or three more guys.
Ninth.
Yeah, I have them 20th. So
You also have them in 13th. So, yeah. Well, gentlemen, that wraps it for the first episode of season 3. Listeners, welcome back, and we'll be back around next week. So, as always, follow us on the social media. TikTok's popping, and we'll have a full slate for you next week after the first weekend games. We're stoked for it. But as always, gentlemen, cheers and good work.
Well done,
Yeah,
lads. Cheers.
Cheers, boys.